Remember when you couldn't keep your hands off each other? When every moment together felt electric? Fast forward to now. You're in the same room, but it feels like you're worlds apart. If this sounds familiar, you might be facing some serious relationship red flags. Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Relationships aren't always smooth sailing, but how do you know if you're just hitting a rough patch or if your ship is actually sinking? Recognizing the signs of a failing relationship early can be the difference between steering your love back on course or ending up on the rocks. In the next few minutes, we'll dive into the key indicators that your relationship might be in trouble. We'll cover everything from emotional disconnection and increased conflict to loss of trust and diverging priorities. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to assess the health of your own relationship. But before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. If you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Let's get started on uncovering the signs of a failing relationship. And remember, recognizing these signs is the first step towards either fixing what's broken or making the tough decisions necessary for your own well-being. Let's dive into the first major sign of a failing relationship: emotional disconnection. This is often the canary in the coal mine, signaling deeper issues beneath the surface. Remember those butterflies you used to feel, the constant urge to touch, to kiss, to simply be close to your partner. When that spark of intimacy and affection starts to fade, it's not just about physical distance. You might find yourself going days without a meaningful hug, a loving kiss, or even a simple "I love you." This lack of affection can leave you feeling unwanted and unappreciated. Communication is the lifeblood of any healthy relationship, but in a failing one, it often dries up. You might notice conversations becoming shorter, more superficial, or even non-existent. Those deep, late-night talks about your dreams and fears, they're replaced by silent scrolling on your phones or one-word responses. When communication breaks down, misunderstandings grow, and resentment can take root. Perhaps the most painful aspect of emotional disconnection is feeling lonely even when you're together. You might be sitting on the same couch, eating at the same table, even sleeping in the same bed, but emotionally, you're miles apart. This paradoxical loneliness can be more isolating than actually being alone. This breakdown in honesty can create a cycle of suspicion and doubt, further damaging the trust between you. Jealousy and possessiveness often rear their ugly heads when trust is shaken. You might find yourself constantly questioning your partner's whereabouts, or scrolling through their phone when they're not looking. Or maybe your partner has become overly controlling, limiting your interactions with friends or co-workers. These behaviors signal a fundamental lack of trust and can quickly become toxic. Another sign of diminishing respect is a lack of support for each other's goals. Remember when you used to be each other's biggest cheerleaders? In a failing relationship, that support system starts to crumble. You might notice your partner dismissing your ambitions or even actively discouraging you. This lack of support can leave you feeling unseen and undervalued in your relationship. Finally, pay attention to how your opinions are treated. In a healthy relationship, partners value each other's thoughts and perspectives, even when they disagree. But when respect is lost, you might find your views being consistently dismissed or ignored. This disregard for each other's opinions can lead to feelings of resentment and a sense that your voice doesn't matter in the relationship. The loss of trust and respect can be subtle at first, but its effects are far-reaching. If you're noticing these signs, it's crucial to address them head-on before they cause irreparable damage to your relationship. Now, let's explore a subtler but equally important sign of a failing relationship: diverging priorities and values. While it's healthy for partners to maintain some individuality, a significant misalignment in core aspects of life can create irreparable rifts. Consider your life goals. When you first got together, You might have shared dreams of traveling the world, starting a family, or pursuing certain career paths. But people change, and so do their aspirations. If you find that your long-term goals no longer align, maybe one of you wants kids while the other doesn't, or one dreams of city life while the other craves rural tranquility, it can create a fundamental incompatibility. Equally important are your views on crucial issues. This could involve political beliefs, religious values, or perspectives on money management. When couples are out of sync on these key topics, it can lead to constant tension and an inability to make important life decisions together. Take a look at your social lives too. While it's normal to have some separate interests, a complete divergence in social circles can be a red flag. If you consistently prefer spending time with different groups and rarely enjoy shared social activities, it might indicate you're growing apart. Pay attention to how you handle these differences. In a healthy relationship, partners are willing to find middle ground and make compromises. Lastly, you might notice a growing disinterest in each other's lives. Remember when you couldn't wait to share your day with your partner, or how you used to hang on their every word? In a disconnected relationship, that curiosity fades. You stop asking about their day, their work, their friends. Their joys no longer excite you, their sorrows no longer move you. This indifference is a clear sign that the emotional bond is weakening. Now, let's talk about a sign that's hard to ignore: increased conflict. When the honeymoon phase ends, it's normal for couples to disagree occasionally. But in a failing relationship, arguments become the norm rather than the exception. You might find yourselves bickering over the smallest things. That dirty dish in the sink or a misplaced jacket suddenly becomes grounds for a heated argument. These frequent conflicts can leave you both feeling drained and on edge, constantly waiting for the next explosion. But it's not just about the frequency of arguments. In a failing relationship, issues often remain unresolved, piling up like a mountain of emotional debt. You might notice the same problems resurfacing again and again, with no real resolution in sight. This buildup of unaddressed issues can create a constant undercurrent of tension in your relationship. The way you argue changes too. Healthy disagreements give way to personal attacks and defensive reactions. Instead of addressing the issue at hand, you might find yourself criticizing your partner's character or defending yourself against perceived attacks. This cycle of criticism and defensiveness can quickly turn toxic, eroding the foundation of your relationship. In the worst cases, this deterioration leads to contempt and stonewalling. Contempt is when you treat your partner with disrespect, mocking them with sarcasm, or dismissing them entirely. Stonewalling, on the other hand, is when one partner completely shuts down, refusing to engage or communicate. These behaviors are often considered the death knell for relationships. Remember, conflict itself isn't the problem, it's how you handle it. If you're seeing these patterns in your relationship, it might be time to reassess how you communicate and resolve issues with your partner. Let's move on to another critical sign of a failing relationship: the loss of trust and respect. These two elements are the bedrock of any healthy partnership, and when they start to crumble, the entire relationship is at risk. In a thriving relationship, partners feel safe sharing everything with each other. But when trust begins to erode, you might notice an increase in lying or hiding information. Maybe you've caught your partner in a few white lies, or perhaps you've started keeping secrets yourself. But if you or your partner consistently refuse to budge on issues, big or small, it shows an unwillingness to prioritize the relationship over individual wants. Remember, some differences can add spice to a relationship. But when your core values and life directions no longer align, and there's no willingness to bridge that gap, it might be a sign that you're heading down different paths. Let's delve into some tangible signs that your relationship might be on the rocks: physical and behavioral changes. These are often the most visible indicators that something's amiss. First, let's discuss physical intimacy. We're not just talking about sex here, although that's certainly part of it. It's about all forms of physical connection: holding hands, cuddling, even simple touches in passing. If you've noticed a significant decrease in these moments of physical closeness, it could be a sign that emotional distance is manifesting physically. Pay attention to changes in personal habits or appearance too. Has your partner suddenly started hitting the gym religiously when they never cared before? Or maybe they've let their appearance go in a way that's out of character. These changes might seem superficial, but they can indicate a shift in priorities or a desire to attract attention elsewhere. Then there's the issue of time. In a thriving relationship, couples generally want to spend time together, but if you're noticing a pattern of increased time apart, maybe late nights at the office, more boys or girls nights out or solo trips, it could be a sign of growing emotional distance. Lastly, and most seriously, there's the issue of infidelity. This doesn't always mean physical cheating. Emotional infidelity, forming deep, intimate bonds with someone outside your relationship, can be just as damaging. If you're noticing secretive behavior around phones or computers, or a sudden close friendship that makes you uncomfortable, it might be time to have a serious conversation. Remember, some changes are normal as relationships evolve. But when these physical and behavioral shifts start to form a pattern that leaves you feeling disconnected or insecure, it's important to address them head-on. We've covered a lot of ground today, from emotional disconnection and increased conflict to loss of trust and respect, diverging priorities, and physical changes. These signs don't necessarily mean your relationship is doomed, but they do warrant attention. Take some time for honest self-reflection. Are you seeing these red flags in your own relationship? Remember, recognizing the problem is the first step towards solving it. If you're struggling to navigate these issues on your own, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A relationship counselor can provide valuable insights and tools to help you and your partner reconnect or make difficult decisions. Now it's time for action. Take a good, hard look at your relationship. Are you thriving or just surviving? If this video resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more relationship advice. And hey, drop a comment below with other signs you think are important to recognize in a failing relationship. Your insight could help someone else in need. Remember, a healthy relationship should bring joy and growth to your life. You deserve nothing less. Until next time, take care of yourself and your relationships.